Are they, do they have the ability to use space when they want to?
Good evening, everybody. We'll call this meeting of the Township Board to order. Will the board members and guests please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Trustee Brewer,
Present.
trustee Bowen,
Here.
trustee Cascarilla,
Present.
trustee Mohica,
Here.
treasurer Fedor,
Here.
clerk clock is present, supervisor Fletcher.
Here.
You have quorum.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. We have the agenda before us. Any additions or deletions? If not, a motion to approve would be in order.
I move to approve. Support.
Been moved and supported that we approve the agenda as presented. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion carries. We have a lot of communications in our packet, a lot of updates and all the wonderful projects that are underway in the township. So everybody take a chance to review those and
Mr. Supervisor, I do have a question about one
Yes.
of them. The Colt Enrichment Center update. I wanted to ask, and I don't know if Brian, you have these questions or if someone else does. How is this going to work with the building? So it says that the money for the refurbishment is going to the schools. And then Delta Township plans to lease that portion of the building for a senior enrichment center. But does that mean that the schools will never use that, well, as long as we're leasing it?
Correct.
And then who performs maintenance on it?
That we are still working out with the lease agreement.
Okay.
So that'll be a part of that, much like the pool.
Well, that was my other question is
Yeah,
how does the
so
pool
given
work?
that it's a shared building, there will be some, things like HVAC or roofs or that type of thing likely will fall under the purview of the school, the day-to-day cleaning and smaller things likely us, but those details will continue to be fleshed out into a long-term lease agreement. Very similar to our agreement with the pool that we should, share with Waverly.
But so the updates to the pool and to the locker rooms, that was part of a millage, right? They got money for that through a millage. Is that correct?
They did,
Okay.
yes.
So in the future, if they wanted to do additional things to this building, they could do the same thing, or if we requested.
I guess it depends because we leased the pool. We've leased the pool for a lot of years.
Mhm.
The improvements, they were able to fit in under their bond program for the upgrades and upgrades to that facility there. So this one, of course, we're able to make these improvements under the state appropriation from Representative Whitwer. So future stuff, I guess, would be decided, depending on the needs, whether it's township or the school district.
Does the school use the pool for school events too?
No,
No, so it's exclusively the township. Okay,
correct.
all right, thank you.
No problem.
Andrew.
Yeah, Brian, I had a question on this as well, and I'm assuming we'll get additional updates, but there was, reference to kind of the planning and some of these, what all will be included and, there's the wish list, but what ultimately there's sufficient funding for. And I'm really interested in making sure, and I imagine my colleagues on the board are as well, kind of understanding that process and when those decisions, are made and what makes that cut, what doesn't, and then how we think about potential alternate sources that might help support those additional wish items, that there isn't sufficient funding for, and whether or not we're seeking, sponsorships and others, from private entities to help support those remaining improvements that might be, not improvements, I think it's probably more, I don't know, I guess what's all on there, but I heard like conversations about maybe needs for laptops or things like that. So if there are additional wish lists for the enrichment center that just that we get updated on that and can think about strategies for private funding to help support the remaining needs.
Sure.
Did you?
Question, I guess that was an ask that we get additional updates as that's kind of moving through that process.
Yep,
To be aware.
absolutely.
Thanks.
Thanks. Anything else? Okay, we'll continue down with the agenda. Public comments. Anybody in the audience this evening would like to speak on any topic? Seeing nobody coming forward, we will continue on with the consent agenda. But it's a pleasure of the board on approval of the consent agenda this evening.
I move to approve the consent agenda.
Is there moved? Is there support?
Support.
There is support to approve the consent agenda as presented. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Trustee Mohica,
Yes.
trustee Cascarilla,
Yes.
trustee Brewer,
Yes.
trustee Bowen,
Yes.
treasurer Fedewa.
Yes.
Excuse me, clerk Clark is yes, supervisor Fletcher.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. We'll move down to items of new business and we'll start with 11, the St. Joe Highway Water Main and Pathway Project Construction Contract Award. What's the pleasure of the board on that item? Yes.
I move the Delta Township Board accept the bid from Dudigan Brothers and award the construction contract for St. Joe Highway Water Main and Pathway Schedules A and B in the amount of $5,738,535.40. Contingent on the sale of bonds to fund the project's construction. Further, Township Manager is hereby authorized and directed to sign and execute all necessary documents on behalf of Delta Township following the sale of bonds.
It's a support.
Support.
There is support. Any discussion?
Just a question or comment. I understand, Manager Reed, that, the bids came in pretty good, as, surprisingly so. So I'm pleased that maybe it's a trend that, maybe some public works now are becoming more reasonable as far as the bidding process returns are concerned.
That's our hope.
Yeah, because we haven't had good luck in the past, you know, so, so I'm pleased with, the fact that it came in, you know, at the amounts it did and we were able to successfully, attain all the, necessary, easements, you know, to make the pathway successful. So it'll be a good project. Thank you.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion carries. Item number 12, case number LS 24-1, lot combination request for 810 West Saginaw Highway. It's a pleasure of the board. Bonda.
I move that the Delta Township Board approve the lot split described in case number LS 24-1 involving 4810 West Saginaw Highway 040042501-760-00 and an adjacent underdeveloped 0.6 acre parcel, which is 040-012-300-335-00, subject to the following stipulation. The lot split shall not become effective until the new legal descriptions resulting from the lot split are recorded with the Eaton County Register of Deeds office. To ensure that the resultant lot divisions are properly included in the township's property assessment records.
Is there support?
Support.
There is support. Mary, you had a question?
I did. I think Matt's back there. Is this the vacant lot that's been for sale since before you were born? There.
It's a weird little mix. I think it's arrows.
So it's next to Patrick's. It's,
Yes.
that's what I wanted to know.
Yes.
So if we're allowing, you say a split, the split would be from the existing building,
There's a,
the 4820.
there's a tiny little red line, yellow line.
I see that.
Mhm.
And so my question is, are we then creating a zero lot line for the 4820 parcel?
Correct.
And why
Yeah,
would
it's,
we-
it's
why
called,
would we
the
be
legal
doing
term is
that?
lot split, but we're really combining them.
I'm sorry, say again.
The legal term is lot split, but yeah, we're really combining the two lots and creating a zero lot line situation.
But is 4820 a separate owner?
No, they're both gonna be the same owner.
Okay, okay. And as long as within, it'll still be two separate lots though.
No, it'll be one tax parcel after this, after the.
So 4820 will become.
Yeah, that will
40,
absorb
okay.
the
Okay,
yeah.
yeah, I didn't, if it was clear, I didn't see it.
No,
so-
it's gonna be the lot split in combination. that
Yeah,
gets-
okay. Very good, thank you.
Other questions? Say none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion carries. Item number 13, the Eaton County Community Grant Program in the Parks and Recreations Department is recommending you apply for a grant of $150,000. What's the pleasure of the board? Andrea?
I move that the Delta Township Board authorize the Parks, Recreation and Cemeteries Department to apply for funding through the Eaton County Community Grant Program for the Sharp Park Playground Project totaling $400,000, and that the township agrees to match the grant request amount of $150,000 with a $250,000 match.
Is there support?
Support.
There is support. Any discussion? Dennis?
Sorry to be the cog on the wheel here, but that's quite a generous match. I assume that the higher the match, the more successful the grant application will be. And I don't know if that's a sliding scale or not. But this match is almost double of what the grant is gonna be.
And do we know how much they allocated to go out to the locals this time around?
Yes,
400,000.
400,000 was allocated for the entire process. The match does not affect scoring any more points. In conversations with the county, they're giving 400,000 last year. They gave 400,000. They awarded 11 communities. We received the second highest last year at 156,000. So just in conversation and research and plan, we thought 150 was a good amount to go after and get for this grant.
And still allow the grantor some ease in having enough grant money to distribute to other
Yeah,
applicants.
yes, but I think they did 9 communities last year.
Yeah. Okay. Well, okay, I was just curious on this. It's, when we do a grant that's, it's usually 50-50 is what I've seen since I've been on the board. And now this far exceeds that, so.
Yeah, and as we get into the grant, with the playground, this is the first playground that we would have done other than Mount Hope. We sort of get into accessibility and things of that nature, and the cost just keeps rising. And we'd love to get it done for 300,000, but to be fully accessible, we have to start looking at the 400 amount.
Andrew?
Marcus, just a question that I had on the equipment. And when you talked about replacing and providing more accessible equipment, that's wonderful. I'm glad that we're doing that. So will the existing equipment all be removed then?
Yes.
And then what are we doing with that? I'm assuming that's still usable or not?
No,
Is it
it's-
not
it's-
really
it's
have any
over
value?
25 years old. and
Okay.
The biggest challenge we have with all of our playground equipment is finding replacement parts.
Oh, okay.
And quite often, if we don't replace a section with something new, we can't find replacement parts to
Right.
fix those challenges.
So none of that equipment is really salvageable, and I say that in a way like if there's a community that might have a need, that it could even be donated to a
It's-
less resource
it's certainly
community.
We'll take a look and see. I mean, I
Good
guess
idea.
one man's junk is another man's treasure, but they're gonna face the same challenges, with replacement parts and old, somewhat outdated equipment as well.
Sure. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion carries. Managers report.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor and board members. Just a couple updates tonight. Number one, we have 2 folks who have accepted offers for new code officials. So we'll have a new rental inspector and code official here starting in a few weeks or in May. Appreciate the staff that's stepping up to try to help fill the void in the meantime in those positions. And there will be a little bit of a learning curve, but we're very excited to turn the page in our code official department. We met this morning, got the draft audit report. So good news for the township. So we'll have that on the board agenda, the first meeting in May, the annual audit presentation. So you can look forward to that. Reminder, next week is the MTA conference. Also just wanted to just recognize all staff. I know everybody knows we have a lot of projects going on now, but it is the number of meetings trying to keep these projects on pace, the St. Joe Water Main and Pathway, which we appreciate your support from the beginning on that project, to secure 31 easements and go forward with kind of a unique project plan, including water main and pathway, and getting that out of the road. I think it's going to be a very good project this summer. But the sheriff's substation, the Willow Force Main, we have weekly meetings going on. The Altium project still finishing up. We are having weekly coordination meetings with the bank intercounty drain to work out utility conflicts. And that type of thing. The Colt, which we talked about, and then some in the housing meetings. We've had several developers interested in housing projects. We've had a lot of meetings on that. So that being said, just I really appreciate a lot of our staff that are trying to keep things moving, and a lot of us are in meetings nonstop. So it becomes a challenge to keep things moving, but really appreciate all their efforts. That being said, wanted to have Aaron come up and just give you an update on the chill grant, because I know everybody's very eager to start that program. So we're very close. So Aaron will give an update on that.
Okay. So obviously, as the board knows, we were successful in getting that $500,000 chill grant. We did quite literally this afternoon receive the email with the signed agreement and the authorization to begin incurring expenses. So we can finally have the thumbs up that we can move forward. So that's awesome. In the meantime, we've been working with CAP on drafting that third-party agreement. We sent it off to MISTA. We got a few revisions back today as well. So we're going to get those little tweaks done. So we'll have that before the board at first meeting in May to get that agreement finalized and in place. And we're also working through updating. The state has been, while we've been working on things, they've also been working on things. So they have been updating their program manual because this is federal dollars. There are a lot of compliance components to this project. And so we're still getting some of those rules as we speak. They're not completely out and final yet. And so as they've been coming, we've been incorporating them into our program plan. And I know one of the pieces that the board was most interested in is the application process. So they have released some template documents that we're working on updating so that we can have those for the board to see kind of what it's going to look like for that applicant, how much information they're going to have to provide and that sort of thing. We're going to be meeting with CAP staff here shortly to kind of work through some of the marketing and other implementation plan. And we're really excited to get going. So that's, I don't know if you have any questions.
Remind me again, is there a cap on the grant award for
$40,000 for the individual property owner.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
Mary?
Aaron or Courtney, is all 500,000 federal or is it a combination federal? It's all federal?
It's all HUD money. Mhm.
Okay.
Thank you so much for leading this.
I was just gonna say the same thing. You know, we're like geeked excited about this
Not
program.
a solo project by any stretch of the imagination. So no, Mary's been great. Peter's been great. It's been a group effort for sure. So.
Thank you.
Thanks, Aaron.
Thank you.
Appreciate the update. That's it.
I did forget two projects that are very
Okay.
close to completion, the Delta Mills restroom and then the Mount Hope Park ball fields and the pathway. So we'll be looking to have ribbon cuttings for those coming up soon. If you have not been out to walk the Mount Hope pathway, we've had some good weather. It is a really nice walk around the loop. So I've been out there a couple of times and quite a few people out walking and using that path in various forms, biking, rollerblading, electric bikes.
You know, I've been using that pathway and, during this, nice winter that's been mild and everything, you know, there's been several days where it got warm. I know back in February, there were some days and stuff. Each time I've been shocked by the number of people who are using that park, the number of people on the pathway, you know. There will be at least 30 cars in the parking lot at
Wow.
different times when I went there on nice days. Tons of people on the pathway using it. A lot of people who live in the, you know, Point West neighborhood who I recognize, they're out there walking it. A bunch of families using the playground equipment. So, you know, clearly that's becoming a neighborhood park in addition to being where our youth sports take place as well. So I'm very pleased to see how much the community has been using and enjoys that park.
Is there a connector to Point West?
Mhm, there is.
I knew there, at one time we talked about it, but I didn't know what phase that was.
There's one and there's another one in the works.
There's a connector to Ashford Manor that has not been finalized yet, but there's a stub for that one.
Mhm.
Yes.
Just, it, brought up a comment I wanted to make regarding the park, the pathway, not the new pathway, the existing pathway that's there before along the entrance. There's a line of trees there, and I just wanted to note to staff that those are hickory nut trees. And there are far and few hickory nut trees around in Delta Township, so I just want park staff to be aware that, you know, we should be nurturing, you know, kind of protecting those and not necessarily, well, they're messy, let's cut them down type of thing, you know, because there's just so very few of those, you know, in the area, and not sure that staff was aware of those, that was that type of tree. Just want to make that comment.
Can I just add to Brian's report? Cause I forgot to ask him to do it. But there, HADA is doing, is adding an extension to, so there's a Grand Ledge extension now. So they'll be using the small vehicles, likely vans, and it makes a loop through Grand Ledge up to Grand Ledge City Hall, back to Meyer again. And then we'll go to, the Route 3 connector and the, Charlotte connector, there on, Marketplace. So
That's
they
awesome.
are,
That's great.
Grand Ledge was envious when we got Route 3, and then, so actually now someone can go to downtown Charlotte or to the courthouse from Grand Ledge or from Lansing. Either way, they can come from either direction. Hit that Charlotte connector that runs it runs every hour.
That's what I was just gonna ask, what's the
So it's an
frequency?
hour loop.
Mhm.
So
Nice.
it's just it's a continuous up, make the stop and go back down.
Brian, I just wanted to say to both you and Mary, there's really good work going on with the Juneteenth planning. And I hope on one of our future meetings, we can really talk about that a little bit so that we can get dates set on everybody's calendar about what's going to take place here in Delta Township. It's super exciting. So I don't know if you could put that on an agenda to just do a placeholder for what we're planning to do here in Delta Township.
Or, yeah, or we can do the manager's report or.
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
thank you. Good job. Good job, Mary.
Anything else for Brian? No, thanks, Brian. Anything else from the board?
I just wanted to say hello to Mary from Tri-County on Aging. I mean, not Mary, Gloria. I'm looking right at her, but I'm thinking about Mary, but Gloria. So it's always good to see her here. And we love Tri-County on Aging and the work that they do.
Years of age.
Wow.
And I always talk to my seniors that what's the next 50
Mhm.
months? So I think that certainly Delta Township is on their way. The place, this beautiful building next.
But I think you're referring to former resident Gloria.
Yes, exactly, but I'm not gonna hold that against them.
Right off every day.
Any final public comment this evening? Seeing nobody coming forward and seeing no further business before us, we are adjourned.